So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing my personal journey from a civilian to becoming an Army officer. From the moment I decided to apply to the very moment I walked across the stage as a second lieutenant. The decision to join the Army and become an officer wasn't easy, but once I've made up my mind, I had a lot of questions and doubts. And like most people, I had no idea what I really was getting into. I remember Googling stuff and searching YouTube for guidance and thinking, this is going to be a long road. So first off, applying to OCS is a long process, so be prepared for that. You have to gather a lot of paperwork. You have to get security clearances, medical documentation, a whole bunch of stuff. It is a mental game, so you must be committed. I remember when I was going through my process, I kept thinking to myself, what if I fail? What if this isn't for me? But my why is what kept me pushing forward. So what's inside of the OCS packet? So how I stayed organized when I was going through the process is I had a binder like this, and inside this binder I kept all my documents, and on the front I had a checklist. I have it on the other side, but I have personal information on there that I don't want to show you guys, but yeah, you'll have like inside of here you'll put a checklist. You'll slide a checklist inside of here, and then inside of the binder you'll have all your documents, and that way you stay organized and you know for sure that you have everything that you need before you send it up. After you complete your packet and it's ready to be sent up for review, it's a waiting process still. More waiting. From there, you will be interviewed and you should have a decision that same day. For me, I had a decision about a couple of hours after my interview was done. So let me give you guys some insight on how the interview process went and some tips that you should take. So during the interview, it felt just like a normal job interview. Mine was over a Zoom call because it was during COVID time and we were limited to, human interaction. I'm glad that it happened that way because for me, it was just much easier. I didn't have to be, in person with someone. To me, that's more nerve-wracking because it is a very nerve-wracking process. So during the interview, like I said, it was over a Zoom call. They're pretty much asking you questions about, your personal background, your professional background. They're asking you a lot of questions about your character, your morals, just really trying to pick your brain and get to know who you are as a person and what type of leader you would be. So make sure that you're confident. Please be confident because they are paying attention to that. They want to see, if you're confident, or if you're a cocky person, or if you're a self-doubter. They want to see those things. So don't show any negative emotions. Don't even show that you're nervous. Make sure you do not show that you're nervous. Look confident and sound confident. You don't have to use a lot of big words. Be yourself, but just look confident and sound confident. Pretend like you're having a casual conversation. Whether you're in person or over Zoom, make sure that you look presentable. Make sure you look the part. Be neat and well-groomed. You want your posture to look the part. You don't want to slouch. You don't want to look like you don't want to be there. You don't want to look like you're tired. Sit up straight, your shoulders back, shoulders straight up, neck straight, and just look confident and that you're happy to be there. So the entire process can take months to a year and sometimes over a year. For me, it took just about a year. I would say about 11 and a half months for me. And that was because of COVID, but it also took a long time for me to get some of my medical documentation. So that could definitely take, part in why it took so long. But every situation is a case-by-case scenario. One of the first things you learn in OCS is that physical fitness is key. It is the majority of your training, so I started training hard. I went to the gym and I practiced my running 5 days a week for months prior to training to make sure I could meet the Army standards. OCS graduation requirements is a must, and trust me, you do not want to fail. Speaking of failing, I failed Land Nav when I was in OCS. I had no idea, how difficult Land Nav would be for me. I didn't even know that Land Nav was a thing until I got there. So when I walked into OCS, I walked into a lot of things, blindly. But I failed Land Nav and I was recycled. It was definitely a humbling experience for me. But after I failed, I adjusted my training, I remained resilient, and I didn't quit. And I ended up crushing it. So if you ever face those problems or you find yourself failing at anything in life or OCS, just use that as fuel to keep going. Because if you quit, your chances of getting your goal is 0%. Versus if you keep going, your chances are much higher. Once I was accepted, it was time for the real work to begin. OCS is no joke. It is not just about passing tests or running fast. It's about leadership, discipline, and pushing yourself far beyond what you think you can handle. The first few weeks were tough. The days were long. The instructors were tough. And it felt like we were always being pushed to our limits, physically, mentally, and emotionally. In OCS, there were times where I was homesick. There were times where I was frustrated. It was times where I wanted to quit. I just wanted to quit and go home. I thought to myself, man, I don't think I'm cut out for this. OCS has a way of breaking you down and then building you up. And I'm gonna be honest, it is not for everyone. It is going to take a lot of resilience to keep going. And there are going to be times where you're going to want to quit, but do not quit. Look at the bigger picture and remember the reason why you went there in the first place. One of the most rewarding parts of OCS was the leadership development. You're not just learning how to lead in theory, you're practicing it every single day. Whether it's leading your peers in a mission planning exercise, running at a training event, or just managing your time and stress, OCS forces you to grow into a leader. And trust me, when you finally lead a group and succeed, it feels incredible. Then came graduation day. After months of training, I finally pinned on my second lieutenant bar. I was so overwhelmed with emotion and the feeling of accomplishment, knowing that I've been through so much just for that day, just for that moment, and knowing that I made it through some really difficult times. And it wasn't just about putting on the rank and a uniform for me. It was about proving to myself that I can do it and those who doubted me. Commissioning as a second lieutenant was hard work, resilience, sacrifice, and growth. It wasn't just about the title. It was about the responsibility that comes with it. To be entrusted with leading soldiers is an honor and one that I carry with pride every day. Now looking back on it, OCS was one of the toughest but most rewarding moments I've ever experienced in my life. And if you're considering OCS, just know that it's going to challenge you in ways you can't imagine. But it's going to give you the tools of becoming a strong and capable leader. And even if it feels impossible at times, just know it can be done and you can do it. Becoming an Army officer has opened so many opportunities for me. It showed me more about myself and what I'm capable of. You never know what you can do until you try. So there you have it. That's my OCS journey. It was challenging, it was humbling, but it was also rewarding. And if you're thinking about OCS, I hope this video has given you some insight of what it's really like. And if you have any questions and would like to know more about Army OCS, please leave your comments down below. I would love to hear from you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and like always, I will see you in my next one.